Breaking today, disgust at Prince Harry's shocking claim that he is the new Salman Rushdie. And that's the reason he should be given security, government security, paid for by British taxpayers like you and me for the rest of his life, for him to swan around the world with Meghan Markle making money. Now, this is particularly disgusting, isn't it? Because anyone who has followed the story of Salman Rushdie knows that this is a man who has been subjected to multiple fatwas, who had to live in hiding for over a decade after the publication of the Satanic Verses, and lost an eye very recently in New York after an Islamist attack on him, which I do believe was an example of terrorism. Prince Harry likes to think that he's under threat, but actually no one gives a damn about him. And if there is any reason he's under threat, it's because of his own stupid revelation that he killed multiple members of the Taliban while fighting in Afghanistan, revealing his kill count, something that most servicemen believe is the lowest of the low. And of course, this comes at a particularly bad moment for the British royal family, given that King Charles is now under attack for many on the right for his so-called betrayal of Christianity, with Father Calvin Robinson now saying that this U-turn is an act worthy of dethronement. So we're going to get into all of that today. But first, I want to show you this sickening report from the Sun newspaper where Prince Harry compares himself to Salman Rushdie. But as the Royal News Network posted, Harry is no Salman Rushdie. There have been multiple assessments and they have found no risk. He is not the target of an entire aggressive government like Iran. He's just a bratty man-child consumed by delusions. Want the real story behind the headlines? Subscribe to Dan Wootton Outspoken for daily updates you won't get anywhere else. Join us today. It's free. Well, Father Calvin Robinson joins me on the Superstar panel today alongside Based and Bougie, Becky Walsh and Richard Taylor. Richard, I'm actually offended that Prince Harry is now invoking Salman Rushdie in his pathetic bid to get you, to get me, to pay for his security everywhere he goes. If there is any relevant threat to Prince Harry, he gets security. That's how it works, Richie. But he was warned that the moment he decided to leave the British royal family and say that he was no longer a working royal and, let's be honest, slag off the British royal family, throw them under the bus, accuse them of racism, accuse the British public of being racist, his full-time, permanent, armed security would go.
Yeah, right, Dan. Look, you've always pointed out this show, you're no fan of Harry and Meghan. We all know that and outspoken, right? But it'd be fair to say the whinging ginger is constantly whinging about something, gaining attention. He's just a prat. I mean, I've got no other words for him. You know, he literally has gone from being so entitled to having everything, then being the victim of everything, you know, how we were treated badly and everything else. And then they wanted to go into some privacy. They wanted to be out of the eye of the media. Then did a Netflix series and all this attention. I mean, the guy for me is typical of someone who loves the attention and the limelight, and certainly his wife as well. And he just whinges constantly. I want to say this as well. What you mentioned earlier, when someone has served in the armed forces, to mention your kill count is actually discredit service to those who have served, including veterans. You should never do that because people have suffered and struggled with those counts themselves, and that is insensitive. And I think this whinging ginger is constantly, he gets on my pigging nerves, if I'm honest. And I know he does with you too, Dan.
Well, totally, because at the end of the day, Becky Walsh, as far as I see it, Harry is no Salman Rushdie, but any of the risks that he is facing are all down to decisions that he has made in his life. And the whole point, Becky, is when you're a very rich and privileged individual, you can pay for your own security if you need it. Just like Beyonce does, just like Jay-Z does, just like Mark Zuckerberg does, you know, just like Elon Musk does. There's no difference between those figures and Prince Harry.
Unfortunately for them, for both of them as a couple, they live the most lavish lifestyle. Everything's just so excessive, endless outfits, endless travel on private jets, all the freebies, celebrity. it's not a good look for someone who's saying it's not fair, I don't have enough money to pay for my private security. Maybe cut down on the extra houses, and maybe don't have so many flying holidays, and then you can get your really important bodyguard to live with you all year round. Either you're worried about your security or you're not. If you can't afford it, cut your lifestyle down so that you can. And maybe also you wouldn't be such a target if you didn't spend your whole time showing off and being attention seeking. So I think I am very pro monarchy, by the way. So it's absolutely would hate to see anything happen to the royal family. I love it, but I don't admire people that cut themselves off from something where there were so many protections and then complain when the consequences are felt.
Well, exactly. And isn't the point based in bougie here totally right? Like, if you are constantly going to announce to the world, I don't have security. It's like you're just invited. It's like he wants to be attacked based. He's that attention seeking. He wants to be attacked to make some type of point.
I think the big question here is who's out to get Harry and Meg? Well, Winge and Ginge.
No one. No one cares.
I think Tommy Robinson is more under threat than Harry and Meghan.
Yes, and he has no security, by the way.
I don't know about you guys, but they are so irrelevant to me ever since they left the royal family. And my whole thing is, just don't bite the hand that fed you, okay? You could have easily had as much security as you wanted had you not left the royal family. But instead, you decided to bash the royal family. You put out this image that they're the reason to your oppression. And now you're asking the same oppression to give you money. It's an absolute joke.
Exactly.
And I just have no respect for them. And what they fail to realize, Winge and Ginge, is that they come out here and they make themselves these victims thinking that the world is going to feel sorry for them. But the reality is everyone's looking at them like they are untrustworthy, like they are snakes, like they are just, whine when they don't get their way. So I just think that both of them are just, they're committing a humiliation ritual against themselves at this point.
100%. And Father Coven, look, we are going to come to your comments on King Charles in just 1 second. But first, Father Coven, I just want to get your take on this security issue, because I think, Father, what a lot of people haven't worked out is that the reason Harry wants this security is that once you receive British government security, it doesn't matter where in the world you travel, you are always entitled to it. So all of our former prime ministers, right? Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, all of them. There's an increasing list these days, Father Coven. It will very shortly include Keir Starmer. Wherever they travel, Father Coven, wherever in the world they travel, be it a work trip, be it a paid engagement, be it a holiday, they receive full armed security detail. And so if Harry were to be given his British government security back, that means that he would be entitled to that security whether he was traveling to Nigeria or Colombia or anywhere in the world. It would cost the British taxpayers literally millions of pounds a year. And that's the reason why the government doesn't want to open the door to this.
Prince Harry is making headlines once again, and this time it's because of a comparison that has left royal commentators and the public sharply divided. According to recent reports, Harry drew comparisons between his own security concerns and those faced by author Salman Rushdie, a figure who has lived under serious security threats for decades. Supporters say Harry was expressing genuine fears for his family's safety. Critics argue the comparison was inappropriate and insensitive. So why has this sparked such an emotional reaction? And could it create even more tension ahead of Meghan Markle's next public appearance? Stay with us, because this story has quickly become one of the most controversial royal debates of the week. Few members of the royal family have attracted as much global attention as Prince Harry. Since stepping back from royal duties alongside Meghan Markle, almost every interview, legal case, and public statement has generated worldwide discussion. Security has remained one of Harry's most consistent concerns. He has repeatedly argued that the safety of his family is a central issue, particularly when traveling to the United Kingdom. Those concerns have been discussed in court proceedings and public interviews over the past several years. The latest controversy centers on reports that Harry compared aspects of his own security situation to that of Salman Rushdie. Rushdie survived a life-threatening attack in 2022 after living for many years under credible threats related to his writing. Because of that history, the comparison immediately generated strong reactions. Some people viewed Harry's comments as an expression of his personal fears. Others believed the situations were fundamentally different and that the comparison should not have been made. The debate spread rapidly across social media and among royal commentators.
Absolutely. And entitled is the correct word there, because he does get some security. It's not like he gets no security when he comes over to Britain, but he wants a higher level of security and he feels entitled to it. And part of it is he still thinks he's a prince of the realm. He gave that up when he left Britain and declared that he was no longer a working royal. He doesn't get the same treatment as the other princes and princesses, and he has to live with that fact. That's on him now. And as everyone else pointed out, he can afford his own private security if he wants it. Why should I, as a British taxpayer, pay for him to swan around the world? I shouldn't. None of us should. So he should get on with it, really. He's got his Netflix deals, he's got his podcasts and all that. Just pay for your own security, mate. I'm not paying for it for you.
Father Calvin, you have caused quite a stir this week, though, in terms of your attacks on King Charles. Now, this is something we've covered earlier in the week on the show. I mean, it was a completely disgusting U-turn from King Charles, who was meant to be the defender of the faith, and all of a sudden slipped out in this document with the sovereign grant is this idea that his main role is now to protect the multi-faith nation, whatever that means. But Father Calvin, you've gone a lot further than many by arguing His Majesty King Charles III has betrayed his oath to be defender of the faith, changing the definition from the one true Christian faith to some globalist nonsense about multi-faiths is not only treasonous, but it is also the heresy of pluralism, an act worthy of dethronement. So, Father Calvin, you're calling for what exactly?
Well, really and truly his head, but practically him to abdicate, him to step down from the throne. It would be.
So you're not what? You're calling for King Charles to face the death penalty, something that no criminals.
I think treason to this level, just 100 years ago, would have had him sent to the Tower. In modernity, that would mean him stepping down and abdicating. And I think that has to happen. Within our family's lifetimes, with our parents' lifetimes, Archbishop Cosmo convinced King Edward to abdicate for moral reasons. This is far worse than that. He is the supreme governor of the Church of England. He is the faith leader of the Anglican Communion all around the world. And he's saying that it doesn't matter which God you believe in, doesn't matter which church you go to. I am the defender of, I'm here to protect a multi-faith nation. He said all along he was going to do this, and we all pushed back, and it seemed like he wasn't going to. And when it came to his coronation, he skimmed around it. But at the end of the day, he swore an oath when he took that coronation to defend the Christian faith, to proclaim the Christian gospel, and he swore on his life and he swore on God that this is what he would do, and now he's undermining his oath, he's undermining the faith, and he's undermining our nation. I think he absolutely should go. He should be replaced.
Do you think he's a secret Islamist, Father Calvin?
I mean, Lauren's asked me that question as well. I don't know. The truth is, we can only speculate, but he certainly fancies that Eastern exotic faith.
Because that's what a lot of people worry about. Oh, is there some type of secret conversion? But see, it's interesting, Becky, because, for example, when I had our Royal Mastermind, Becky Walsh, when I had our Royal Mastermind, Angela Levin, speak on this yesterday, she's a Jewish woman. She didn't have a problem with Charles pushing this multi-faith angle at all, because she says as a Jewish woman, it makes her feel more protected.
My view on the royal situation in general is that it's a rather like my original point about revolution. It's one of the great traditions we have, and we have had it for so long, and it has kept us stable. And I think we have to remember that as a core message. I also think that it's a sign of great lack of confidence as a country when we start attacking someone like the king. And I think we've already lost the hereditary peers. I think that was an extremely damaging thing that happened in Parliament for the House of Lords. And I think the same feeling now. I may not agree with everything King Charles has historically said, but I think he's been right on lots of things. I think he was very good early on about management of the land. I'm not talking about zero. I'm talking about careful management and in many ways to look after our land better. I think conservatives want to conserve the great traditions that we've had in this country, and our royal family are one of the greatest traditions we have had. And I think our stability and our reputation as a stable country has been tied up with the monarchy. And I think we need to be very careful before criticising too heavily our king.
Richard Taylor, you disagree with that. You say that this is a broken promise by King Charles.
Absolutely. I mean, Father Calvin will know he was anointed, and in that anointing, he made an oath to protect the country and obviously his subjects, as we're called, which I don't like, by the way. And I've always been like Becky. I've always been a monarchist. I've always loved the royal family, the Queen, everything else. But this man, what he has done, he's broken an oath before God. And when you do that, because what comes from the head affects everything else, it flows down. So in effect, for a lot of Christians out there who believe he's the defender of the faith, which is the Christian faith, he has removed himself from that. Therefore, he is not fit for purpose. He's not my king. He's not my king. I'm sorry, he's not my king. But the problem we have is this. It's a token thing. It's a great British institution. Having the monarch and everything else on an international stage has been wonderful for Great Britain. We've a long history.
Yes, and he did a great job, for example, in the US during the state visit.
I think what we're seeing is the dismantling a lot of our identity and what it means to be British, and it's being attacked. And the king making those statements, becoming defender of the faith, and many other things, lends itself to help the left wing.
Based, who are you with on this, Based?
Push that kind of identity that we're breaking down British identity, and that is my biggest concern. He's not my king. He's not my king at all.
Based, who are you with on this, Father Calvin and Richie or Becky?
Definitely Father Calvin and Richie, just because what King Charles is doing is an absolute disgrace to this country. The reason why it's a disgrace, and this is why I said at the beginning, this is why I feel that civil war is brewing, because what we are seeing is not only just within our community or within our streets, but we're seeing within the establishment, the government, the royal family, just this complete dismantling of British culture and British values. And not only that, but we keep seeing this favoritism. Sorry about that. We keep seeing this favoritism of other faiths and other religions. And what's going to happen is that's going to frustrate the British public. It's kind of like when you have two children and you have one child that you keep playing favorites with. The other child is going to get frustrated one day and lash out. I pray that does not happen, because civil war never benefits anyone. But I truly feel like it's going to get to that point, because I feel like people are losing faith in the government. They're losing faith in politicians. And now our royal family, we're losing faith in.
Yeah, but we've got a lot of feedback coming in on... Oh, sorry. Father Calvin?
To be fair to Becky, she's right in that conservatives want to conserve or preserve what is good. But the problem with liberalism is it comes piece by piece by piece until actually what we're preserving now is liberalism. If the king cannot defend the Christian faith, which he swore an oath to do, then we're not protecting anything. He's not protecting anything. At a time when Mohammedans are coming into our land and raping our daughters, and we need to push them out, and he's saying we need to bring them back in and bring them as part of the nation, protect the multi-faith. He is part of the problem. He's not conserving the nation, so we shouldn't conserve him.
This isn't only about one comparison. It's about a question that has followed Harry for years. How should his security concerns be understood now that he is no longer a working royal? Harry has consistently said that security remains one of the biggest issues affecting his family. He has argued that public attention and threats have not disappeared simply because his royal role changed. Others point out that the arrangements for security changed after he stepped back from official duties, and they argue that this distinction matters. These different perspectives continue to shape the wider public debate. Security is not just a legal issue. For Harry, it is also deeply personal. The loss of his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, and his experiences with intense media attention have influenced how he speaks about protecting his own family. Whether people agree with his approach or not, those experiences form an important part of the context behind the discussion. But perhaps the biggest question isn't whether Harry's comparison was appropriate. Perhaps it's why every statement he makes continues to divide public opinion so dramatically. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain among the most closely watched public figures in the world. Each interview, each legal development, each public appearance quickly becomes headline news. Supporters believe Harry is speaking honestly about his experiences. Critics believe some of his public comments create unnecessary controversy. That divide has become one of the defining features of modern royal coverage. As Meghan prepares for future public engagements and Harry continues his legal and public advocacy around security, interest in the Sussexes remains intense. Every new comment is analyzed. Every appearance is scrutinized. And every headline becomes another chapter in a story that continues to fascinate audiences around the world. So, was Harry's reported comparison an understandable expression of personal concern? Or was it a comparison that inevitably invited criticism? The answer depends on individual perspective. What is certain is that discussions about security, public life, and the role of the Sussexes remain among the biggest stories surrounding the royal family. What do you think? Did Prince Harry's reported comparison help explain his concerns, or do you think it went too far? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoy royal family news, palace developments, and thoughtful analysis of the biggest stories involving Harry, Meghan, William, Catherine, and King Charles, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next royal headline could change the conversation once again.